And while everybody is different, we can actually set up what Marx would call a concrete abstraction. That is an abstraction, a general picture of what all human bodies are about. And when we start to do that, we will see straight away that the human body contains a variety of circulatory processes, all of which are interacting with each other, and all of which are also at the same time possible to identify and examine. What we would end up with is that the concrete abstraction of the human body can be broken down into these particular parts, and we will have neurologists telling us about this part, pulmonary specialists telling us about that part, a cardiologist telling us about another part. The analysis here then would say what Marx is doing is talking about capital in a similar kind of vein. The totality of the formation of capital is made up of different circulatory processes. There's a tendency within Marxism to say everything really rests on the question of production. That is, the central part here is the creation of surplus value in production. I think that is a very important role, but on the other hand, surplus value produced in production means nothing unless it's also all these other features are engaged. And the analogy of the human body is, I think, here again, useful and instructive. It's useful and instructive because you don't go around saying, oh, well, the heart is more important than the liver, or the heart is more important than the stomach, or the heart is more important than the brain. And if there is an illness in the body, there's only one real cause of death, which is the fact that the heart stops beating. Well, death is about the heart stopping beating, but the reason the heart stops beating is because there wasn't enough oxygen there, or there wasn't enough, the liver failed, or the neurological capacities dissipated, or something of that kind. So when you're looking at the human body, you tend to look at the different circulatory processes and to say that all of them are important. All of them, if they fail, are going to create a serious problem, a medical problem, and possibly resulting in death. And the same thing applies to all of these moments, as Marx calls them, in this circulatory process. That yes, surplus value is created in production, but on the other hand, it only exists if you can sufficiently go through all of the other moments, as Marx calls them, in the circulatory processes. So this is the picture that you have, and it's a very useful one, I think, to analyze, because when you hit a crisis, say like the crisis of 2007, 2008, one of the things you would do is to say, well, where within this system did this crisis really originate? Where did it come from? We have to look at all of the possible points of failure within this, because if any one of these breaks down, one of the things I always end up doing is whenever I'm faced with a particular kinds of difficulty in an economy, and so all the figures start to go haywire and the stock exchange collapses and all kinds of things of that happen. You have a 1930s style crisis. I kind of say, okay, let's look at this whole kind of system and let's see how capital deals with these contradictions, if it does. So this is, if you like, the basic system. Yeah, where are the weaknesses in the system? Where are the contradictions in this system? And how do the contradictions work? And under what circumstances can this system work in such a way as to be operating very smoothly? Can it be operating smoothly forever? The answer, I think, is no.